In this video, we got a new turntable, and I'm the geriatric wood turner, and I picked out my two favorite bowls. I've made about 70 bowls, and I've kept most of them. And Mrs. Geriatric is going to pick two of them, and then Mrs. Ma'am is going to pick two of them. And I just thought I'd describe the bowls a little bit and tell you what I like about them. This one is it's got a wood that's called Padauk. That's a reddish wood in the middle, and then there's a layer of maple next to that on either side, and then there's a layer of walnut on either side, and then there is a layer of honey locust, the one that has the strong banding on the bottom is honey locust. And then something happened with the top. I can't remember what it was. I screwed up the top some way, and so I was trying to save myself. So I glued on, this is a segmented ring that I have, and it's made up of maple and mahogany segments. And I just had it around. It's not a very good one. There's quite a bit of unevenness. And then it was okay, but then I thought I'd jazz it up a little bit, so I took I've got one of those Fordham tools with a little kind of a ball-like bit, and went around and made little divots in the surface of that to give it some texture. And the finish on it is just Minwax wipe-on poly, and then I put a couple coats of that on and then sand it down smooth, and then I spray just a real light coat of gloss deft lacquer on top of that. So that's what this one is. And I don't know, the reason I like about it is just because it's different. Most of my other things are just little bowls, and I thought this one's kind of turns out to be more of a vase. And you know, these little bowls could be useful like as pill bowls, you know, yes, but mostly they're just kind of like little nice works of art that you have sitting around. And so this is my favorite one. This is geriatric wood turner second favorite one, and I've liked it for quite a while. The reddish layers in the middle are box elder. It's called flame box elder. It's a fungus attacks the box elder, and the box elder fights back by making this red pigmented substance. And this one is also wormy. I cut these slabs of wood a number of years ago, and I had them sitting around in the barn, and the powder post beetles went to them, so they made it kind of wormy. But you know, it doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like the texture of the wormy wood. And then on either side, and in between them, there is a layer of, I don't know what it is. It's some kind of a tropical hardwood that my father-in-law gave me many years ago. I had it just a little piece, and I put that in there. And then above and below the main layers are honey locust again, and the honey locust has got that strong banded pattern, and I really like that. And then at the very top and the very bottom are layers of maple, and then there's a couple white veneer layers in there, and a couple of brown walnut layers in there. And I just like this piece because I think it's got a nice shape, and it's colorful, and it's really interesting. And one of the nice things about the little bowls is I'm gonna look down from the top now. Get a little light in there. I think it's always when you start comparing how that gets that in that pattern, and because you can see the different layers on the inside. So that's my second favorite bowl. This is Mrs. Geriatric's second choice of a bowl, and she's like this one. We've always had a deal. We used to do craft shows together, and she always got first choice of the things that I was selling at the craft shows. And so she got first choice of the bowls some time ago for, I don't know what it was, for her birthday or something. But anyway, this is the one she chose right away, and it is really nice. It's got a layer of it's a segmented layer on the top, and it's got the walnut, and then it's got the other segments are spalted maple, and you get entirely a different look when you look at spalted maple in cross section and in longitudinal section. It looks entirely different, and this shows that off. And then the rest of it is walnut. And then I'm kind of surprised. I didn't remember doing any of these, but the maples are twice as wide as the walnuts in here. So I surprised myself. And then down the bottom, I don't know if you can see this. On the bottom, there's a layer of next to the floor, next to the base of it, that is just a layer of walnut. And then I don't know, sometimes it just I don't know what happens, but I thought that looked kind of plain, and so I took a fine pointed chisel and just cut those little grooves in it, and I thought it kind of made a nice texture. And so anyway, a nice little bowl. I personally, I like the fact that, I mean, I tend to like the bowls that aren't just a straight bowl shape. You know, I like the ones that have a little curvature on the side to, you know, to make it into kind of an interesting vase. Hello, I'm back. These are the two choices Mrs. Mam had for her favorite bowls. The first one is a little vase that I made, and Mrs. Mam liked it because it was so different from the other things. I had all of my little bowls on a plastic rack, and this really stood out because it was taller than the rest of them, and it had many different colors of wood, and she just liked the variety of it, I think. It's made up of, it's called a segmented vase, so each ring is made up of 12 pieces of wood, and they can be different colors, and they're glued together, and then the rings are stacked together and glued up, and then that structure is turned and hollowed out on the lathe. This one is made up of red cedar, maple, cherry, walnut, and white oak. And I like it. It's because the woods go together well. It's kind of, they're all pastel, and seems to me like they're in the same family, and they fit together well. I like it because it has the variety of having some layers have two or more colors of wood in them, and making patterns with the arrangement of the pieces of wood. The thing I don't like about this thing is how much time it takes. Many hours to make up there are 10 rings and one solid piece in the bottom, and I think this might have been the turning point for me. Before that, I had thought I was going to go back into segmented turning, and after this one I thought, gee, for that bottom layer, which is solid wood, that took me hardly any time to make that. And it took me so much time to make each one of those other layers. And I said, what would happen if I made the layers of solid wood? And then I could work with different colors and different patterns within that. So anyway, it's a nice little vase. It was made in 2 parts. The bottom part goes up to about the ring in the middle here, and that was on one base, and then the other one had a base here, and so then I could hollow out that one. I could hollow out that one from this way and this one from this way, and then glued them together, and that actually was quite a problem, getting those two things to line up. But anyway, so this is her first one. This is Mrs. Mam's second favorite one. And the top wood is maple. The second layer is cherry. The third layer is walnut. The middle layer is redwood burl. And the next 2 layers are walnut and cherry again. And in between these, there are veneers, and the veneers look like there's 3 different layers of them. And anyway, it's nothing more complicated. It's 1/16 inch Baltic birch plywood that I use to make the veneers. I glue it in there, and it turns very nicely and makes a nice, interesting veneer between the other layers. The bottom part was made first up to the ring on the top, and that was all made and hollowed out and finished, and then I flattened the top, and then I glued on another layer of maple, and then I turned a hole in the middle of the maple, and I turned the edge of the maple, and I turned the slope on the maple, and then I took my Fordham with a round cylinder carbide bit and laid that bit down and made those different flutes around the top of it. I like the carving, and I like the really nice shape of the bowl, and I especially like that redwood burl. It's just a beautiful wood with a lot of interesting variety as you're looking at it, and the colors of the wood seem to me like they go together really nicely. And then I like the veneer setting off the different layers one from the other. So I hope you enjoyed these look at this gallery of bowls on the twirly rack, and maybe we'll do some more of this in the future.